and jump into what it is. It is basically the phone version of the OG Leviosa, which was released a couple years ago with a deck of cards. A couple more things going on here than the original. The original is like a haunted deck. It's the start, pick a card, goes back in the deck cuts itself. So that's not happening now, but there are a couple of phases here, and I'm going to break down all the details after that. So basically, the phone gets placed down on the floor. It is your phone. This is not something you're doing with a borrowed phone. And then the phone turns itself over, flips over. Once it's done that, you start to now interact with the phone now that it's got the backup with the flashlight facing up. And you will now see that the light on the back of the phone, the flashlight, starts to flicker on and off. And then, of course, you've got this nice connection going on. And then the best part of all, the light comes back on, it stays on, and the phone floats right back up to your hands. It looks like a special effect. It looks absolutely amazing. And the best part is, once you're done doing this, it is now instantly reset to do it again. There's a few more details I'm going to share with you. What you're looking at here is an app that allows you to customize the settings. I'm going to go into what those settings are here in just a moment. But I wanted you to see that you can also do this now with the light. You can have it flicker a certain number of times to reveal a playing card that someone picked. And then you can have the phone come up. So you can also use it as a revelation of something with the number of flickers of the light, how many times it comes on. So that is what the Leviosa phone is. And here's a full performance, but you already know now what the effect is. So let's jump on into those details for you, starting with the instructional. Now, of course, we're not going to show you the instructional here, but I wanted to go over what you're going to learn with this. So you're going to get the introduction, João just kind of going over the history in the background. You're going to pop open the box with the what you received section. Obviously, you're going to get the phone, which is not a real working phone. You're going to get this and the extra bits and bobs to go with it in here. I will say this is modeled after an iPhone 15 Pro, modeled after a 15 Pro. So you are performing this with what they think is your own phone, but this is what the phone looks like, and this is the front. Of course, this is just to peel this off, so you can then have that ready to perform. This just comes here for protection's sake, obviously. Okay. So while it's not technically your phone, they think it's your phone because in play, and I'll get to this a little bit later, you're using your phone, you bring it out, and then at some point you do a switch, and then you have this one in play, and then you do the Leviosa phone effect with that. Get into more details with that. Operating the unit, they're going to talk about how it works. He went into, I think, 15, 20 minutes on how it works. So it goes into very much detail. And I want to tell you, too, when it comes to the instructional part, because this is using IT, they do the instructional part with a very, very visible red thread. So now you will be able to see everything crystal clear on how to get into this, how to perform it, how to handle it, and then how to get out of it at the end. Okay, so everything is taught crystal clear with something that you can actually see, which is pretty important. The next section here, switches, because obviously this is something that maybe you have your regular phone for another trick you've done. At some point, you want to get the Leviosa phone effect into play. There are two methods taught on here. They're both very easy to do, very justified too. I want to say that. One using just regular short sleeves, the other one with a jacket. So if you want to perform it and you don't have a jacket on, he still teaches you ways to get that into play. And vice versa, if you are wearing like a jacket, like a blazer or something, and you want to do it that way, you can also do it. So that way, if you're surrounded, the jacket version is going to be the way to go. So that is great. We'll jump on in with a quick comment about this from our friend Tardvark, who says, dun, 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 dun. Let me just turn this off so that doesn't go away. Thank you. We have, I've shown phone Leviosa to arrive to about a dozen people now, and none of them have asked why the Leviosa phone is an iPhone, and yet the other phone I use are two different phones. And I think that's an important thing. We're talking about switches. Everybody has phones. When is the last time you really, truly paid attention to someone's phone? Socially, around anybody. When are you really, unless you're borrowing the phone or they're handing you the phone to take a photo or something, when are you really looking at exactly what type of phone someone has? It's just an accessory that we all have now. And I think a lot of us kind of get so hyper-focused as magicians about details that I think phones are everyday objects now. and everyone's got one and everyone's lost in theirs. So I think this is a great example of someone that's got it, has used it about a dozen times now, and no one's asked about why does a Leviosa phone not match your phone. I think sometimes, again, we run when we're not being chased. So I'm glad that our friend Tardvark, that's Zach, mentioned that. There's also some routine presentations. You've got Julio Montoro's presentation, who Julio was one of the original contributors, of course, creators, the original Leviosa with the deck. And then we have Jack Rhodes, his presentation as well, which Jack Rhodes, you know, who's on BGT, really funny guy. Very nice to see a couple of different presentational, you know, angles presented there too. Maintenance, they talk about how to get this rethreaded, because obviously this does use some IT. It looks like it's the same stuff that came with the original Leviosa, which is a nice, stronger thread that's not apt to break as easily. And the rethreading is very easy. I was watching that earlier. Also, the charging of the battery is USB-C. It is a USB-C charge, so that is something I know a lot of people have been wanting. Also, the app settings. This is a web-based app. So basically, you have the phone turned on. It does not turn on like a regular phone. I want to say that. The screen doesn't light up or anything like that. But when you have the unit activated, you have a web-based app on your real phone. And you could go in and customize all the settings, from the delays, you know, once you hit the button, to when things start to happen. In between, if you want the phone to turn over and then you want to wait longer before the light starts to turn on. Maybe you don't want to do the first phase. Maybe you don't like the idea of the phone sitting there and then doing this. You don't have to do that. You can customize it to not do that too. You can just have it float if you want to just do that. You can go in and customize that. Also, the blinking of the flashlight, you can customize how long that blinks, how many blinks it has, customize the brightness of the light that's popping up from the flashlight. You can customize that too. These are all things that are on the web-based app that are on your phone, and then everything syncs up right away to the device, the Leviosa phone device. And then there's just some, you know, frequently asked questions and stuff like that, just general maintenance that Joao goes over. So everything is covered in detail here. And again, he teaches this with the red thread so that you can really see what's going on. I have a list of notes as well, and I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. Does it come with a matching case? My phone case is bright blue. So good question about the case, and I'm going to turn this off so that we can bring you back up here. I have this in my notes that, so the extra phone cases are easy. It's easy to find similar cases. So it does not include a matching case, because the case is actually specially designed so that it helps to hide the IT. So I don't even know if this is like a real phone case. I think this is something that they had custom designed to look like. But there are things you can buy that are very similar looking for your phones. So he gives you the kind of like details on how to find that very, very easily. So there is not a matching case with it. That is a good question. I know that's been a very popular question about this for sure. Also, to get inside of it, to do the rethread and everything, the screen pops off very, very easily. Okay, it's not something that's going to take you much effort to get into, but it is secure. I wanted to say that. Every part that is included on the inside is modular, meaning that nothing is like welded or soldered to, soldered to the device, meaning if you need to replace the battery, which is very easy to get a replacement, or any of the other components, they just pop out individually. So you don't have to worry about that. Very easy to get things in and out, which I think is important to note. Also, he does recommend, though, if you are not going to use this for a little while, disconnect the battery. Just that way it's not something that will affect the battery life, because it's meant to last a really long time. But you want to make sure that. Also, another really cool thing about this is that the Apple part here, the logo, is actually a very cool, it's designed in a way to where when you push that spot, you're getting access to the IT. So this area is actually making it to where you don't have to worry about the IT being exposed and getting damaged. You literally just kind of push down in this area and you're now able to access the IT. So it's protected until you need it, which is pretty rad, actually. Very good idea. So that, it's also very quiet. They do say if it's like in a very, very quiet room where there might be crickets, you can hear everything. Talking over it during the moments when things happen, good way to cover it. But if you're in an ambient environment, there's just people around, there's background music, there's whatever, not going to hear a thing. But if you're doing this in a super, super quiet spot, maybe just talk over it during those moments, and that'll cover what little bit of noise there may be. Okay. Again, the switches happen with or without the jacket. The web-based app control all the delays and all the stuff. Also, the glass replacements, as a regular phone, we get scratches or whatever. There are replacements available for the glass, which has been custom made for this. So wanted to mention that as well. So that is important. And I also forgot I had this clip of the one and only Jackie Yu performing a very cool version of this. And here you go.
This is crazy. Let me show you something cool. Here's my phone, and this is a paper with a light through. If I turn this over, something will happen. Watch my phone. See? It flips over. This time, I'm going to tear this half. Look. And if I put them together, see? The light turns on. That's crazy. Okay. This time, if I give it a shake like this, what is that? What is that? I have no idea how this is possible. Come on. This is...
Now, the other reason I really want to share this clip with you is because I see a lot of people doing this effect in the original Leviosa where their hand is just staying up the whole time. Using something else in your hand, as you notice, gets away from that weird, awkward look. So just one small change can make it look a lot more natural, because I think a lot of people just do it for what it is, and it looks kind of like what it is sometimes. But having other things in your hand and covering that dirty part, if you want to call it dirty, I think it's very smart and something to really appreciate. And that's coming here from someone like Jackie Yu. Now, I know this effect's not for everybody. I get it. But if you are looking for something very visual, especially for like promo reel or something like that, it's hard to beat. And I think those are all of my notes that I had. What thread does it come with? I'm guessing Kevlar. Yeah, it is something stronger than your typical IT. I believe this is like the same stuff that João Miranda releases with his gravity reel. Same thing came with the Leviosa deck. So it's a stronger thread, but I don't think it's quite as thick as a Kevlar. But I could be wrong, because it's like a proprietary thing that Joao's created. But it is better than just standard invisible thread, the IT stuff you're used to. So good question. And if you do want to exchange out the IT, though, you could use whatever kind of IT you want. You would just, of course, have to redo the spools that are there. So there we go. The case is generic enough that because it's black, it wouldn't have to be an exact match. That's true, too. Very, very true. Let's see. Tarvark says, I love that Joao separates each individual part of the tutorial into individual videos, so I don't have to slog through an hour plus of other stuff to find the specific thing I need to do. Yeah, I mean, it is, as you saw, broken up into sections, which is very convenient for sure. I really don't think there's a need to let a spectator examine your phone, but the switch out is a nice added extra. Yeah, I mean, because for me, I do stuff with my phone too, so maybe during another routine, I'm just using it. At one point, I just get the other one into play, and it can be in play until I want to perform the effect, which is cool. The other really nice thing about the Leviosa Phone is that once it does this, after a few moments, it shuts off by itself. So it's saving the battery life there too. You don't have to worry about, oh crap, did I forget to turn it off? Once it comes back up to your hand, cycles through the end of the thing that's going on, it will turn itself off so that then you don't have to worry about that. And then you just push a button and you go right back into it whenever the heck you want. So that is something that is very important to note too. So there you go. Those are most of the details. I try to keep reviews short and sweet. This one I know is brand new. It was just released about a week ago. And so I wanted to get as many details in there as I could. And again, if you are interested not only in picking one up, you might not pick one up tonight, but maybe sometime soon. We do also offer Afterpay and Shop Pay, so you can break up the payments. You pay the first payment today, and then it ships, and you just make the other payments along the way after that. But tonight, we're also offering it as a giveaway. So again, if you want to have a chance to win a Leviosa phone, you can enter our raffles. Raffle tickets, you can enter that for as little as $5. Of course, the more entries you get, the more chances you have to win. I'm going to grab that link and put it in here one more time. Also, you can donate the stars on Facebook and raffle the Super Chats over on YouTube. If we do not hit our goal tonight, We will still do a giveaway, so your money that you're donating to will not go for naught. But if we do not hit that threshold, then we will have to give away something else. So wanted to throw that in there. Okay, so that is the Leviosa phone in a nutshell. And it does pay to watch live. So if you're watching this review later, you should have come on. You could have won a free, not a free, but $5 maybe, Leviosa phone.